press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Touchdown confirmed. We are safe on Mars. The control room at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, late in the evening of August the 5th, Pacific Time, when word arrived that the Curiosity rover had landed safely on Mars. The 1-ton rover, which dwarfs all Mars landers that came before it, will now spend a planned 2 years exploring the Martian surface. The mission is expected to cost $2.5 billion. Curiosity's task is to investigate the inside of Gale Crater, where a giant mound of sedimentary deposits may provide evidence of a wetter, possibly habitable Mars billions of years ago. But first it had to survive an elaborate landing sequence, which appears to have gone smoothly. Curiosity landed on time and on target and soon beamed back grainy photos of its wheels and its shadow. Given the car-like size of the rover and the challenges of landing on Mars, Curiosity's landing goes down as one of the greatest parking jobs in history. You might picture Neanderthals as cavemen gnawing on bones around a campfire, which wouldn't be inaccurate, but Neanderthals may have also dined on roasted vegetables and known a bit about medicinal plants too. So says a study in the journal Naturwissenschaften, the Science of Nature. Researchers analyzed hardened dental plaque from 5 Neanderthals found in El Cedrón cave, in northern Spain. Yes, 50,000-year-old dental plaque. And they found a lot lurking between the teeth, like evidence of nuts, grasses and green veggies, chemical traces of wood smoke, and tiny, intact, starch granules, proof Neanderthals ate their carbs. And in one individual, they detected compounds found in the medicinal herbs chamomile and yarrow. The herbs have no nutritional value, and since Neanderthals did have the gene to detect the herbs' bitter taste, the researchers speculate that the cave dwellers were munching on them not as food, but to self-medicate. Not too far-fetched, they say, because primates like chimps also use medicinal plants. Luckily for the scientists doing this detective work, Neanderthals may have known a thing or two about medicine, but they didn't get regular checkups at the dentist. The New South Wales government has apologized for yesterday's transport chaos in and around Sydney Harbour during the visit of the Queen Mary II and the Queen Elizabeth II. Roads were lammed, traffic ground to a halt, while tram and ferry services were swamped with thousands of additional passengers, with most services delayed for hours. Premier Maurice Humer says that plans were put in place to deal with the congestion asterisk, but the number of visitors well exceeded expectations. On the harbour itself there seemed to be as much congestion as there was on the roads, but everyone agreed it was an amazing spectacle. Some interesting facts about the great reptilian fossils recently discovered in Wyoming and Colorado have come to light. The bones found represent reptiles of many sizes, from that of a cat up to 160 feet high. The latter, found at Como, Wyoming, belonged to the crocodile order, but the remains give evidence that the animal stood up on its hind legs, like a kangaroo. Another found in Colorado is estimated to have been 100 feet long. A great many remains of the same general class, but belonging to different species, have been collected and sent east. Among them from 300 to 400 specimens of the dinosaur, and about 1,000 pterodactyls, have been shipped from Colorado, Wyoming, and Kansas. The wings of one of the latter were from 30 to 40 feet from tip to tip. 17 different species of these flying dragons have been found in the chalk of western Kansas. There have also been found 6 species of toothed birds. Comparatively little has been done toward classifying the late finds, and the task is such an enormous one. Great importance is attached to them, however, since nothing of the kind had been found in America until a little over a year ago, and great stress had been laid by certain geologists on their absence. Another remarkable feature of the discovery was that the fossils which had been reported as not existing in this country had hardly been brought to light in one locality before thousands of tons of them were simultaneously discovered in half a dozen different places. A new process for 3D printing things could pave the way for lighter, faster aircraft that potentially fly further on the same amount of fuel. Today's aeroplanes are held together with thousands of metal rivets and fasteners. That's because the lightweight but strong aluminum alloys used for their frames are considered unweldable. Try to weld them and you get a phenomenon called hot cracking, in which the finished alloy weakens and fractures as it cools. This and other adverse welding effects also stand in the way of 3D printing high-strength aluminium alloy parts. When researchers have tried, the resulting laser-fused mass flakes away at the welding area like a stale biscuit. Obviously, this is all relevant to your final assignment, so we're going to talk about it. So until today, we've gone through face-to-face interviews as the main sort of part of interviewing the window. Today we're going to have a look at going to use an email and why they work, why they don't necessarily work, and what are the challenges and some of the things that we need to be understanding, when we are completing such interpreters. So let's start with the foreign one. Obviously, there are a few benefits to them, and they are listed there up on that slide. It's obviously less stressful for those of you who might be a little bit anxious about interviewing. Well, the simple explanation might be that yesterday's sudden drop in share prices, pretty much across the board, has created what market analysts like to call a buying opportunity. It tends to bring out investors to pick through the ruins, looking for bargains. Decision by investors that sellers got a little carried away with things, so the buyers have lifted all the major indexes today. The Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500 were all up around 0.5% in early trading today, and that wasn't a big surprise. The sell-off continued somewhat overseas. European markets remain fairly weak, along with many of the Asian markets. But you'll remember that all this started with a big plunge of around 9% on the stock market in Shanghai. Well, Chinese rebounded by around 4%. There are some 250 million cars in America, 250 million cars in the country with just over 300 million people, and most of those vehicles, of course, are gas-powered. This poses a huge challenge given the limited supplies of oil and the growing urgency of the global warming crisis. But there is good news, according to our guests today, and that is we have the know-how and the technology to build sleek, fast automobiles that don't use gasoline. These vehicles of tomorrow are powered by hydrogen, electricity, biofuels, and digital technology, and they already exist. So what's stopping us from putting them on the roads? Our guest today will help answer that. What is nanotechnology? Well, a report that was put together by a combination of the Royal Associate and the Royal Academy of Engineering that came out last summer identifies two topics. Nanoscience is the study of phenomena and the manipulation of materials at atomic, molecular and macromolecular scales, where properties differ significantly from those at a larger scale. Nanotechnologies are the design, characterization, production and application of structures, devices and systems by controlling shape and size at the nanometer scale. So I'll talk a little bit more in a moment about what a nanometer is, but loosely speaking, people think of nanotechnologies as being a sort of 100 nanometers or less. Those of you who've never heard the term Neo-Latin may be forgiven for thinking it's a new South American dance craze. If you're puzzled when I tell you it has something to do with the language of Romans, take heart. Over the years, many classes who have said they are not really sure what it is either. Some have assumed that they are so-called Late Latin, written at the end of the Roman Empire. Others have supposed it must have something to do with the Middle Ages. Or perhaps it's that pseudo-Latin which my 5- and 7-year-old boys seem to have gleaned from the Harry Potter books, useful for spells and curses that they zip one another with makeshift paper ash ones. No, in fact, Neo-Latin is more or less the same as the Latin that was written in the ancient world, classical Latin. So, what's so new about it?
The effect of the first difference is, on the one hand, to refine and enlarge the public views, by passing them through the medium of a chosen body of citizens, whose wisdom may best discern the true interests of their country, and whose patriotism and love of justice will be least likely to sacrifice it to temporary or partial considerations. Under such a regulation, it may well happen that the public voice pronounced by the representatives of the people will be more consonant to the public good than if pronounced by the people themselves, convened for the purpose.
The first section of the book covers new modes of assessment. In Chapter 1, Kimball, Goldsmith College, London, responds to criticisms of design programs as formalistic and conventional, stating that a focus on risk-taking rather than hard work in design innovation is equally problematic. His research contains 3 parts that include preliminary exploration of design innovation qualities, investigation of resulting classroom practices, and development of evidence-based assessment. The assessment he describes is presented in the form of a structured worksheet, which includes a collaborative element and digital photographs in story format. Such a device encourages stimulating ideas, but does not recognize students as design innovators. The assessment sheet includes holistic impressions as well as details about having, growing, and proving ideas. Colloquial judgments are evident in terms such as wow and young, and reward the quality and quantity of ideas with the term sparkiness, which fittingly is a pun as the model project was to design light bulb packaging. In addition, the assessment focuses on the process of optimizing or complexity control as well as proving ideas with thoughtful criticism, and not just generation of novel ideas. The definitions for qualities such as technical and aesthetic pertaining to users are too narrow and ill-defined. The author provides examples of the project, its features and structures, students' notes and judgments, and their sketches and photographs of finished light bulb packages in the appendix. What's an article? I was asking myself this very question in the post office yesterday, standing in line waiting to sign for, as it so happens, an article. A postal article, not the postal article. Now before we get ahead of ourselves, an article in English is a word that precedes a noun, and simply indicates specificity. This sounds quite complicated, and to be honest, it's quite complicated to say without spraying everyone within 15 feet, but the concept's quite simple. The definite article in English is the word, the, and indicates a specific thing, or type. For example, the train is an hour late. By contrast, the indefinite article in English is any of the words, a, an, or, some, and the indefinite article indicates a non-specific thing. For example, would you please pass me an apple? We always precede a word with a if it doesn't start with a vowel sound. For example, take a hike. I'm spending a weekend at Bernie's, or there's a knight in shining armor. Similarly, we precede words with the indefinite article, and if they do start with a vowel sound, for example, an ostrich, an enormous mess, or an occupational health and safety policy. The Amazon rainforest is the largest tropical rainforest in the world, covering over 5.5 million square kilometers. It is often referred to as the lungs of the earth because it produces about 20% of the world's oxygen. The forest is home to millions of species of plants and animals, many of which are endangered due to deforestation and illegal logging. The Amazon River, which runs through the rainforest, is the second longest river in the world. Efforts to conserve the rainforest are important not only for protecting biodiversity, but also for combating climate change. Electric cars are becoming increasingly popular due to their environmental benefits. Unlike traditional gasoline-powered vehicles, electric cars produce zero emissions, making them a cleaner alternative for reducing air pollution. One of the challenges for electric car owners is the availability of charging stations, which can be limited in certain areas. However, with advances in battery technology, the range and efficiency of electric vehicles continue to improve, making them more convenient for everyday use. The human brain is an incredibly complex organ, responsible for controlling everything from basic bodily functions to higher cognitive processes like thinking and problem solving. It is made up of billions of neurons that communicate through electrical and chemical signals, creating a vast network of connections. These connections form and strengthen through learning and experience, a process known as neuroplasticity. The brain is divided into different regions, each responsible for specific functions. For instance, the frontal lobe is involved in decision-making, planning, and regulating emotions, while the occipital lobe processes visual information. Despite its amazing capabilities, the brain is still not fully understood, and scientists continue to explore how factors like sleep, diet, and exercise influence its health and performance. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle can protect the brain from cognitive decline, which becomes more common with aging.
Now that the story's been scratched, it is only part of contingency planning. But it was a symptom of the dramatic turn of events in South Australia, and it flushed out other remarks from water academics and people like Tim Flannery, indicating that things were really much worse than had been foreshadowed, even earlier this year. So is Adelaide, let alone some whole regions of South Australia, in serious bother? Considering that the vast amount of its drinking water comes from the beleaguered Murray, something many of us outside the state may not have quite realized, is their predicament something we have to face up to as a nation? Lowry is famous for painting scenes of life in the industrial districts of northwest England in the mid-20th century. He developed a distinctive style of painting and is best known for his city landscapes peopled with human figures, often referred to as matchstick men. He painted mysterious unpopulated landscapes, brooding portraits, and the unpublished marionette works, which were only found after his death. Along the way we have built unashamedly beautiful buildings, two of which have won and another was runner-up in the prestigious United Nations World Habitat Award, the first time an Australian building has received that international honour. We rely on older concepts of Australian architecture that are heavily influenced by the bush. All residents have private verandas which allow them to socialise outdoors and also create some defensible space between their bedrooms and public areas. We use a lot of natural and soft materials to build beautiful landscape gardens. The importance of physical exercise in maintaining overall health cannot be overstated. Regular activity helps to strengthen the heart, improve circulation, and boost the immune system. Many people, however, struggle to find time for exercise in their busy lives. This often leads to a reliance on modern methods of staying fit, such as quick workouts or fitness apps. While these tools can be beneficial, they may not replace the advantages of outdoor activities like walking, cycling, or swimming. Additionally, group exercises provide not only physical benefits, but also social motivation and a sense of community. To achieve a balanced lifestyle, it is crucial to prioritize exercise in our daily routines. Dave Hackenberg, a beekeeper since 1962, can usually tell what killed his bees just by looking at them. If they're lying on the ground in front of a hive, it's probably pesticides, he says. If the bees are deformed and wingless, it's probably vampire mites. But last fall, Hackenberg saw something he had never seen before. Thousands of his bee colonies simply disappeared. He was in Florida at the time, pulling the lids off some of his commercial hives. To his horror, they were all empty. Exploring nature is one of the most refreshing experiences one can have. Whether hiking through a lush forest, walking along a serene beach, or climbing a mountain, each setting offers its own unique beauty. The sound of birds chirping, the rustle of leaves in the wind, and the smell of fresh pine create a calming atmosphere. Nature encourages us to slow down and appreciate the little things. It's also a great way to spend time with friends or family, sharing stories and laughter. Ultimately, connecting with the outdoors helps rejuvenate our spirits and reminds us of the world's wonders. Reading is a gateway to adventure and imagination. With each page turned, we can travel to distant lands, meet fascinating characters, and experience new cultures without ever leaving our homes. Whether it's a thrilling mystery, a heartwarming romance, or an informative non-fiction book, there's something for everyone. Reading stimulates our minds, improves vocabulary, and enhances empathy by allowing us to see the world through different perspectives. Many people find comfort in curling up with a good book, savoring the quiet moments it brings. In a fast-paced world, reading offers a much-needed escape and a chance to reflect. Regular exercise is essential for maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Engaging in physical activity not only strengthens our bodies but also boosts our mental well-being. Whether it's jogging, cycling, or practicing yoga, exercise releases endorphins that elevate our mood and reduce stress. It can be a fun way to connect with friends or challenge ourselves individually. Setting achievable fitness goals fosters a sense of accomplishment and encourages discipline. Moreover, incorporating exercise into our daily routine helps combat sedentary habits and promotes overall health. By prioritizing physical activity, we invest in our future well-being and enhance our quality of life. Friendship is one of life's greatest treasures. True friends support us through both good times and bad, providing comfort and understanding when we need it most. Sharing experiences, laughter, and even challenges helps strengthen these bonds. Friends can inspire us to be better versions of ourselves, encouraging personal growth and new adventures. They remind us that we are never alone, no matter what life throws our way. Nurturing friendships requires time and effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. In a world that can often feel isolating, having a close friend can bring joy and a sense of belonging. Friendship is one of life's greatest treasures. True friends support us through both good times and bad, providing comfort and understanding when we need it most. Sharing experiences, laughter, and even challenges helps strengthen these bonds. Friends can inspire us to be better versions of ourselves, encouraging personal growth and new adventures. They remind us that we are never alone, no matter what life throws our way. Nurturing friendships requires time and effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. In a world that can often feel isolating, having a close friend can bring joy and a sense of belonging. The transition to renewable energy also has substantial economic implications. Investing in renewable infrastructure can create jobs in manufacturing, installation, and maintenance, contributing to local economies. Additionally, as countries shift toward cleaner energy sources, they can reduce their dependency on imported fuels, enhancing energy security. Governments worldwide are increasingly implementing policies and incentives to promote renewable energy adoption, recognizing its potential to foster sustainable growth. However, challenges such as energy storage, grid integration, and initial investment costs remain hurdles to overcome. Addressing these issues will be crucial for realizing a sustainable energy future. Elena stood at the edge of the cliff, the salty breeze tangling her hair and pulling at the edges of her thoughts. Below, the ocean crashed against the rocks, each wave a reminder of the chaos that had enveloped her life. She had come to this remote coastal town seeking solace, hoping to escape the noise of her past, yet she found herself wrestling with questions that haunted her like shadows at dusk. Who was she beyond the expectations of others? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, she felt a flicker of something she hadn't felt in years, a sense of possibility. In the days that followed, Elena wandered the winding paths of the town, discovering hidden cafes and quaint bookstores. Each encounter, whether with the elderly fisherman sharing tales of the sea or the young artist sketching the cliffs, tugged at her heart, nudging her closer to the person she longed to be. The locals, with their simple joys and unfiltered laughter, reminded her of the beauty and authenticity, a stark contrast to the polished facade she had maintained for so long. With each passing day, she peeled back the layers of her carefully constructed identity, allowing vulnerability to seep in. The ocean's rhythm became her heartbeat, urging her to embrace the uncertainties ahead. Perhaps it was time to finally step into the unknown, to let go of the past and welcome the woman she was meant to become. Motivated by her newfound inspiration, Elena decided to take a leap of faith and signed up for a community art class. As she dipped her brush into vibrant colors, she felt the weight of expectation begin to lift. Each stroke on the canvas became a release, a way to express emotions she had long suppressed. In the laughter of her classmates and the camaraderie that developed, she began to forge connections that felt genuine and unguarded. With every class, she was not only discovering her passion for art but also reclaiming pieces of herself she thought she had lost. For the first time in years, Elena felt alive, her spirit ignited by the realization that the journey of self-discovery was not just about finding herself, but also about embracing the messy, beautiful process of becoming. In the small town of Willow Creek, the air was thick with unspoken words and lingering resentments. Sarah sat on the worn porch of her childhood home, the creaking wood beneath her reminding her of the countless summers spent in this place. It had been years since she'd returned, her heart heavy with memories of the argument that had torn her family apart. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the yard, she heard a familiar voice, her brother, Jake, standing hesitantly at the edge of the driveway, hands shoved deep in his pockets. Time had etched lines on his face, but his eyes still held the spark of the brother she once knew. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Could they bridge the chasm that had grown between them? With an unsteady heart, she stood and walked toward him, the weight of the past pressing down on her like the summer heat. "I'm sorry," Jake said, his voice barely above a whisper. The sincerity in his tone melted some of the icy distance that had defined their relationship. As they shared stories of lost time and whispered regrets, Sarah felt the walls she had built around her heart begin to crumble. The road to forgiveness was never easy, but standing there, under the fading light of the day, she realized that healing was possible. Together, they could rewrite their story, transforming their shared pain into a new beginning. The first step toward redemption lay not in forgetting the past, but in embracing it and choosing to move forward together. In this groundbreaking work, Beauvoir explores the social constructs surrounding women and their roles in society. She famously states, "One is not born, but rather becomes, a woman." This highlights the idea that gender roles are not innate but are shaped by societal expectations. Her essay critiques the oppression of women and calls for liberation and equality, asserting that women must transcend the limitations imposed on them. In her memoir, Yousafzai emphasizes the importance of education in empowering girls. She writes, "We realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced." This statement underscores the power of education and the need for women to speak out against injustice. Yousafzai's story serves as a powerful reminder of the resilience required to fight for women's rights and the transformative potential of education. Education is crucial for personal and societal growth. It equips individuals with knowledge and critical thinking skills, fostering informed decision-making. Through studies, people gain the ability to understand complex issues, adapt to changing environments, and contribute meaningfully to their communities. Education also promotes social mobility, breaking cycles of poverty and opening doors to better job opportunities. Furthermore, it cultivates empathy and cultural awareness, enabling individuals to appreciate diverse perspectives. In a rapidly evolving world, continuous learning is essential for innovation and problem-solving, making studies not just an academic pursuit, but a fundamental pillar of a thriving society. Computers play a vital role in today's world, revolutionizing how we work, communicate, and access information. They enhance productivity by automating tasks, enabling individuals and businesses to perform complex calculations and data analyses efficiently. In education, computers facilitate interactive learning and access to vast online resources, promoting lifelong learning. Moreover, they foster global connectivity, allowing instant communication across distances and bridging cultural gaps. In various fields like healthcare, finance, and engineering, computers drive innovation, improving outcomes and efficiency. As technology continues to advance, understanding and leveraging computers will be essential for personal and professional success in the digital age. Voting in elections is a fundamental right and a cornerstone of democracy. It empowers individuals to voice their opinions and influence the decision-making processes that affect their lives and communities. When citizens participate in elections, they hold their leaders accountable and ensure that their views and needs are represented. Each vote contributes to shaping policies on crucial issues such as healthcare, education, and public safety. Moreover, high voter turnout can signal to elected officials the priorities of their constituents, compelling them to act in accordance with the public's desires. The importance of environmental conservation cannot be overstated. As urban areas continue to expand, many natural habitats are being destroyed, leading to a decline in biodiversity. This loss not only affects wildlife but also has significant repercussions for human health and well-being. To combat these issues, it is essential for communities to engage in sustainable practices. For instance, planting trees, reducing waste, and using renewable energy sources can greatly contribute to a healthier planet. By making conscious choices, individuals can play a vital role in ensuring that future generations inherit a thriving ecosystem. Technology has transformed the way we communicate and access information. In the past, people relied on television and newspapers for news updates. Today, the internet allows us to connect with others across the globe in an instant. Social media platforms have also emerged as powerful tools for communication, enabling users to share their thoughts and experiences with a wider audience. However, the rapid rise of digital communication has raised concerns about privacy and the spread of false information. It is crucial for individuals to remain vigilant and develop critical thinking skills to navigate this complex landscape. Traveling offers unique opportunities for personal growth and cultural understanding. When we visit new places, we often encounter different cultures, traditions, and languages. This exposure can broaden our perspectives and foster connections among people from diverse backgrounds. Moreover, travel can also encourage individuals to step outside their comfort zones, enhancing their problem-solving and adaptability skills. However, it is essential to travel responsibly, being mindful of our impact on local communities and the environment. Sustainable tourism practices can ensure that future generations can also enjoy the benefits of exploring the world.